are in listen-only mode.
Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasedtravelagent.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar. We have a really exciting presentation for you today with our good friends at Scenic Cruises. Our speaker is Randy Goodrich, who is a trainer for Scenic Cruises and Emerald Waterways, and is the business development manager for travel agents in Idaho, Oregon, Washington State, Alaska, Hawaii, and Texas. Randy's topic is Scenic Cruises, the most all-inclusive luxury river cruise company. And as also, we really appreciate the support we get from Scenic, so thank you so much for that. Before we start, please remember that you are all muted, but we welcome your questions. You can type your questions in at any time in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of Randy's presentation, we'll get to as many questions as we can. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Randy, and I'll be back a little later with your questions. Welcome back, Randy.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I think some of you may have participated in some of our webinars before. I'm going to repeat some of that for the people who haven't, so they get a better understanding of Scenic Cruises and how we fit in the overall river cruise marketplace, so that you can put the right customer with the right cruise and have happy customers who will come back to buy again. So we hope that happens. So to start with, European river cruising, for those of you who have not been on a river cruise or experienced this, all the boats look like the boat in this picture. This happens to be one of ours, but it's sometimes at first glance hard to distinguish one from the other because the European River Commission dictates the length, maximum length and maximum width of the ships. So they're all basically a maximum of 443 feet long and 40-some feet wide, so they can fit through the locks and under the bridges. It's a little tight there under the chain bridge in Budapest. But it's what's inside. So I quite often, when talking about the ship itself and the amenities, refer to it's just like a hotel. So the hotels are all built in what looks like a box from the outside, but it's what's inside that counts. So I happen to be right now in Dallas, Texas, in a Westin hotel, which is very nice. It's got certain amenities that other hotels don't. And that's the same with river cruise companies. And we'll go through what's inside our ship as far as amenities and services and how that's different than some of the other river cruise lines. The nice thing about the ships are like a hotel, too, and then you go check in, unpack your bags, and then the hotel moves. So it takes you to a different destination, but you never have to. So it's an awful lot like a tour, but you're not having to pack and unpack every day. So it's a very convenient type of travel. So we talk about, get my screen to move here. Better luck. Let's see here. There we go. So we talk about Scenic Cruises being the most luxury, all-inclusive luxury river cruise line. So I realize that a lot of the river cruise companies say that they're all-inclusive, say that they're luxury, and they are to different degrees. I personally traveled on quite a few of them. I've always had a great experience because really it's more about the destination. That's why people take the river cruises, go into these really unique areas where a lot of the history and culture of Europe developed over the centuries on rivers, which were essentially the highways of Europe for centuries. So what makes us more all-inclusive than other people? So let's just go through that real quick, and then we'll bounce into the details. I'm going to go through all that pretty quick, understanding that some of you may have seen this, and then I'll focus more on some of our new products coming out in 2016 and some of our, how we do some of our pricing. So when we talk about the most all-inclusive, things like butler service in every cabin on the ship. So every cabin has a butler assigned. If they want to have breakfast in their cabin, even dinner, some of the smaller cabins, not quite as convenient for that. But the butler will do some pressing services, shoe shines. They're also there as kind of concierge to help people if they want to go ashore and find a particular type of shop or whatever. They'll help with that. So it's really a nice extra that nobody else has in their cruise business for all cabins like we do. 6 dining venues. Typically, the other companies have 1 or 2. cabin, so we have more room to put some dining venues. We'll go into that detail in a minute. All meals, all beverages. This means wine, beer, alcohol, any type. All that's included anytime they want it. So if they want their Bloody Mary at 6:30 in the morning, they can have it and move right up into their scotches and wines or whatever else they want. Have a jolly good time. Wi-Fi and a Mac Mini device. The Wi-Fi is actually quite good because we also have a GPS system, and I'll get into that later, but that requires a satellite relay. And the Mac Mini is in each cabin, so they don't really have to take the computer with them. We prepay handsomely all gifts, all tips and gratuities, both on board and on shore, to the guides and the bus drivers, so the client does not have to worry about having to figure out how much they should tip or not tip. It's all done ahead of time, and we pay the highest in the industry as far as tips go. Transfers. So we do provide transfers when they arrive in Europe, and we will return them to the airport at the end. They do not have to buy our air, and we just assume that you take care of the air for them. We do have air as an option, but it's not required to get the transfer. If they arrive on the day of departure, we'll pick them up at the airport. We just need to know the flight information, of course. And typically, every day we have 2 or 3 guided tours, plus a city walking tour, and then plus some extra things. So that's more than anybody else. Typically, the other cruise lines have 1 guided tour per day. If you want to do any more, you have to pay for them. In our case, everything's included. We have electric-assisted bikes on board. I'll show you those later, and our GPS system. And then there's these exclusive, very memorable events that we put together, at least once per week, only for our clients to do something like dinner in a castle or a private concert, things like that. And more stuff we'll go into. So for those of you who haven't heard very much about SCENIC, it is an Australian-based tour company. Been in business since 1986. Started small, grew rapidly, providing luxury tours for Australians to all 7 continents. They've grown nicely over the 30 years.
Excuse me, Randy, I'm sorry. Randy?
Yeah.
Randy, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're getting several comments that people are having a lot of trouble hearing you. I'm wondering if you can speak up a little bit. We don't want to miss a single word.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the handset because I am traveling. I forgot my headset, so I'll just talk into the phone.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, hopefully that's better. So, again, SCENIC Tours started in 1986 as a tour company providing tours for Australians. They have been doing that now for almost 30 years, so they're well founded in all the different destinations. Have always provided a first-class luxury type of experience for the travelers and worked with the best guides in each one of the destinations. 2008, after chartering a couple of river cruise with some of the competitive companies, they decided to get into the river cruise business and build their own ships in their own style. They're the first to actually have all balconies on the second and third deck, and these are real balconies. People can actually sit out on the balcony, enjoy the view and the ambiance. And in 2012, they came up with some new concepts, and so they upgraded the ships that they had built up till then. So all the ships really are new in amenities and structure as of 2012. There'll be 12 ships on the water this year. Of the 12, 10 are the long ship, the 443 feet long, and they are pretty much identical in where the cabins lie and everything else. The other 2 ships, one in the Seine that started in service in 2014, is smaller, 128 passengers, and the one in Russia is 112 passengers. We own all the ships outright, little or no debt, except the one in Russia, which is the hull is owned by the Russian government. So we sail all the primary rivers in Europe. That would be the Rhine in Amsterdam and Basel, the Main that goes across southern Germany and connects with the Danube, and then the Rhone in France, the Seine in France, and new this year, the Bordeaux in France, and I'll talk a little bit about 2016 a little bit later. When we talk about the difference between SCENIC Cruises and other river cruise companies, we focus on the ships themselves and what's different about it, the service, what's different about that, and most importantly, the destination, how we provide more choices for the customer. So the staterooms on average, we have typically 10 less than other cruise lines, same size ship. It gives us some room, about 2,000 square feet, to provide a little bit larger stateroom and also a larger lounge and restaurant, which provides us more dining choices. The service is a 3-to-1 guest ratio. It's a 5-star, all-inclusive, as I mentioned, all meals, beer, wine, spirits anytime, all shore excursions. In fact, there's so many shore excursions they can't take them all. Very similar to Regent 7 Seas. If you work with them, the customer has to choose which shore excursion they want each day. All tips and gratuities are prepaid, butler service, and then the destination focus. So the trip starts when they come to Europe. We just need to know when they're going to arrive. We'll put them up at the airport, bring them to the ship. They're meeting one of the officers, it's the cruise director in this case. The butler's got their luggage, going to take them to the room, etc., and show them all the amenities. Once they get on board, they'll feel the whole ambiance of the ship itself, meaning a lot of natural, neutral colors, very comfortable, kind of elegant, not over the top. It's meant to be a comfortable setting, but in a first-class style. Little things that SCENIC does that aren't really so little, but they don't have to do it, but that's the way they like to do business. The 24-hour coffee pot back here, you see a lot of those these days, but this one is quite a machine. It is actually cost 15,000 euros, so it's not your thing you go out and pick up every day, but it actually makes the coffee, espresso, latte, even hot chocolate, right from the bean to the coffee. So the beans are on top. You'll grind them immediately and make the coffee. So they're it's as fresh as you can get it. So this is part of the lounge, which is about 25% larger than others. If we were to turn around, you would see the bar. I'll show you that in a few minutes. It's a huge bar. When you have free alcohol, you need a big bar, of course. But it's also where 2 of our dining choices are in this lounge as well. As far as dining, I mentioned earlier, we have 6 choices. So you have the crystal dining room, which will accommodate everybody on board. So we have 169 passengers on 10 of our 12 ships, and it does easily accommodates them. We don't have any type of structured seating, except the dining room will open at a certain time. Show up, within a reasonable amount of time, and you'll find a seat. It's never crowded because of the different dining choices. So we also have Portobellos. This is an intimate Italian restaurant on the France Itineraries. It's called L'Amour, more of a French food, but this is actually in the lounge. It's in the front. So it would be the back of the lounge, the front of the ship. It's a sitting area during the day for people. Night is converted into this restaurant that will hold about 30 people. So that takes 30 out of our main restaurant. Please ignore the dress here. Nobody wears a tie on our ships. They will dress up a little bit, country club casual, I guess you could say, but you don't have to wear a coat. The guy doesn't have a coat and tie, and women don't have to get overly dressed up. Some will, just because that's their nature, but you don't have to. We just don't want, grubby old jeans and shorts and stuff at dinner, but other than that, there's no dress code. The next dining choice, number 3, is your table of reed. This is a very special chef's table, which is in the back of the dining room, which is in the front of the ship. That's where the kitchen is, and most of the ships out there, the kitchen is in the bow. It's, it's not, you can't really put in cabins out there or anything, so that's where they put the kitchen. And so the chef comes out. There's 6 courses, and they announce each course and the wine pairing that's going with that course. So this only holds 10 people, so we cannot accommodate everybody on board. So if your customer upgrades to stay in the top deck, which is our diamond deck, or takes one of the junior suites on the second deck, they're going to be invited to participate in this special dining experience. So if you have customers who like that kind of dining experience, you just need to get them to upgrade. It's not a lot of money, but then there's no extra charge to do this. And both this and the Portobellos, they simply, when they get on board, talk to the concierge there and request which night they would like to dine in each place, and they'll try to accommodate that as best they can. One of of my favorites is the River Cafe. This is our lounge, so you can see the bar area here, rather large U-shaped bar. During the day, starting at 6:30 in the morning, there's an early riser breakfast, so kind of a light breakfast with coffee and tea. So you can come up and read the news and check your emails, whatever. Then, as the day goes, this turns into a deli for all day, so people can come and go and grab some food when they want. It's primarily sandwiches, wraps, salads, soups, things like that, even hamburgers. And what a lot of people are doing now, go up and request specific items and have them put in a picnic basket and go ashore. And you can see the castle in the background. Maybe go up to the castle along the shores of the Danube or whatever river they're on and have a nice, memorable little picnic. And then in the afternoon, we bring the sweets out, and that's kind of the afternoon tea, and build up some calories there before dinner for those who like to do that. Number 5 dining option is on the top deck. On nice days when we're not out and about doing something else, we'll have a nice lunch served on deck, a beautiful lunch like this. So you can just picture your customer having this great lunch and sitting in one of those nice rattan chairs, having their favorite drink, margarita, whatever, and then floating through the Rhine Gorge and viewing the 40 different castles that they see that during that one-day cruise. So it's a fabulous experience for your customer, something they'll never forget. And finally, last but not least, our friendly butler service is available to all suites. And these butlers are all professionally trained in their profession, so they're very good at their job, and they're there to provide lots of different services for your client. This is just a list of different types of amenities that are offered based on cabin categories. So the better the cabin, the panoramic suites you'll see in a minute, they have all kinds of extra services. So it's kind of a reason people might want to upgrade. We sell these suites faster than anything else. So speaking of the suites, let's go through that real quick. These are our basic staterooms, the D&E category. They're on the first deck. There are 3 decks. This is the first deck. We cannot have a balcony on this deck, mainly because the water level is about halfway up that wall. But other than being 160 square feet, which is smaller than our other cabins, but larger than the small cabins on other ships, everything else is top-notch. It's the Egyptian linens. It's all the L'Occitane shampoo and conditioner and lotions and whatnot in the bathrooms. So they're very nice accommodations. This is our typical accommodation here. This is the majority of our cabins are the 205 square foot private balcony suite with the balcony. So everything on the second deck, which is the Sapphire, or the top deck, which is the Diamond deck, will look like this, except for the big suites. One thing to show you is that just note that the bed and the chair are probably about 3 feet difference. I'll show you another cabin that's a little bit bigger that can accommodate people that might have wheelchairs or walkers or something like that. The deck itself is unique, and not only that it's a full deck where people can actually sit and stand and look out and whatever, it's also easily converts into a sunroom because the glass panel is a double pane. With the push of a button, you can enclose it. So if it's noisy, windy, cold, or even too hot outside, you can enclose this as part of your room and control the temperature, the noise, and still enjoy your deck. So that's very popular. This is, on some of the newer ships, we have a deluxe balcony suite. That's another 20 square feet. It's really kind of looks like a king-size bed, but it's not. They used a wide angle on this picture just so they could show the whole room. So don't think we have king-size beds. I don't think anybody does. But it's a beautiful picture with the Parliament building in Budapest in the background there. This gives you a little picture of how big the decks are. This double easily is there. And you can see the dark panel. When they push the button to close it, it just raises up to the top. So very simple. Minibar, each cabin has a minibar. It's going to be stocked with the beverage of their choice. That could be an alcoholic beverage, a wine, a beer, mineral water, fruit juice, pop, whatever. They just let their room steward know what they want, and each day they replenish that. The showers are very nice. The bathrooms for the Occitan lotions and whatnot, and then you got multiple shower heads and all that good stuff. Excellent water pressure. Then we get into the junior suite, a little bit bigger than the regular suites that we were showing you earlier, and this is where there's so much more room between the bed, and so that extra square footage is used this way. So it's a wider cabin. So if you have customers that have some mobility issues, the junior suites are the best choice because of that, and also because they're the first cabins when you come out of the elevator. So the elevator goes to second and third deck. They just come out, and the first cabin they get into is the junior suite. We're going to talk about the Royal Suites and the Royal Panorama, our big suites. When you get up to that category, they will have a bathtub and a shower. Some people want a bathtub, so this is important. They have to get one of the big suites to do that. So these are the Royal Suites. There's typically 4 or more on a ship. They're typically midship. Beautiful sitting area, and of course the bedroom with the deck. This is our new 1-bedroom Royal Panorama Suite. So the current ships out there prior to the Gem, which is our new ship on the Seine that went into service the 1st of August. It was our first 1-bedroom. That's the picture you're seeing. Before that, they were 1 room, like a hotel room, suites, 325 square feet. There's 2 of them. They're in the back of the ship. So this big panorama window here next to the champagne bottle is looking aft over the wake. So it's a beautiful panorama that way. Or you have your deck. Now you can see in this picture how the balcony looks like it's part of the room. They do have the window open, but they could easily close it. So these are beautiful. So the Gem is 455 square foot, 1-bedroom. You're looking at the new Opal and Jasper, the 2 new ships that will be in the water in another month or so. A little bit larger, 475 square foot, 1-bedroom suites. Huge suites, the biggest ones in the rivers. Why would somebody need these on such intimate river ships? Well, because they want them, and they're tough to get because they sell faster than anything else. So there's hardly any of these left in 2015. Technology-wise, we do state-of-the-art. We have the iPad, the Mac Mini device here. We have a big flat panel screen TV, which has TV, movies, also a river view system, which you can see where we are in the rivers and whatnot. It's got an invoice tab, which is kind of funny because 80% of our customers never have an invoice. But the only way you can create an invoice is if your customer wants a massage or a haircut. Otherwise, everything they do is included in the price. Entertainment, full-time entertainer on the board, on board that entertains whenever we're together as a group. That could be at lunch, it could be in the port talks, or at dinner, and then after dinner, more of a lively type entertainment. We also bring in local entertainment. So those are usually very fun, interactive nights. But it's really about the major focus for SCENIC is the destination itself. And quite frankly, nobody provides in the river cruise business as many choices for your customer to experience these wonderful destinations. So we call part of it SCENIC Highlights. These are your city walking tours. We prepay these guides a very handsome amount. So we get some of the best guides out there. We're very attentive to our clients. Everybody just loves that part of the trip because they're local guides. They typically live in these towns. Then we have our what we call free choice. This is a choice of which tour do you want to take each day. Typically there's 2 or 3 different ones. Now other river cruise lines will typically have 1. And then if you want more, you have to pay for it. So that's a big difference. A lot of times, a lot of the itineraries, we have our own buses, but we have 4 buses following the ship. And then each morning, the bus drivers will be there, and 2 buses will go one direction, 2 go the other. In Passau, for example, southeastern Germany, where Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic come together, they will have the choice of going for a full-day excursion to Salzburg, or a full-day excursion to Chesney-Kremloff, or some people might want to just stay on board because we're going to take the ship down to Linz, and we're going to pick up the people on the tour down there, or vice versa. So that's the kind of choices they have. In the catalog in our brochure, there's actually, this is on page 50 and 51, a
breakdown of each location and what the different tours are that they can start to think about and choose from. Some of these can be pre-booked, some aren't, but in some cases we need to know ahead of time how many people want to take each tour so we plan accordingly. And it's all included. We also offer bikes. Most people do have bikes on board. We have about 30, depending on the ship, 30 to 36 bikes. So these are e-bikes. These are electrically charged bikes. You still have to pedal. I kind of call them booster bikes because if you need a little boost, that's what they do. You turn the handle a little bit, and electricity comes on and helps you pedal easier. The nice thing about the bikes is they put a whole different dimension on the experience. The tours, we typically go out in places further out that are historic, and the city walking tours, of course, focus on the downtown areas. The bikes get you to go to different places. They're too far to walk, but the buses don't get to. So typically we have 1 or 2 guided bike trips per week, and then people can go out on their own. That might sound intimidating to go out on your own. It is to a lot of people because you're in a foreign country, you may not speak the language. But we have these GPS devices. So each cabin has 2 of these. They're in a docking station. The clients take these out each day. It's their hearing device. If they're on a guided tour, they can hear the guide very easily from a distance. But if they want to go on their own, it's preloaded with a whole bunch of tours. So if they want to do the Rembrandt tour in Amsterdam, they simply click that. It starts to talk to them and tell them to start walking from the ship, and we tell them to take left or right. It also will ping them, a little ping in the ear. It will tell them that at 100 feet to the right is the Archaeology Museum. Around the corner to the left is the Church of St. Mary's. Give them a little history. So it's like having a personal guide and go out on your own, not with a group. So it's very nice. It can be used on the bikes or walking. They can also be used on the ship to also kind of show you where we are on the river and what some of the important sites are that we're going by. SCENIC ENRICH are exclusive events. So in this case, this is the Marksburg Castle on the Rhine. Lots of people stop there. Some companies charge to take the tour of the castle. We actually not only include it, we rent it. So we rent it at night and have a medieval dinner here. So that's kind of special. In Vienna, instead of having just the same classical concert that everybody else has, we actually rent the Palais Liechtenstein, have a private concert and ballet and champagne reception in this gorgeous palace. So special events like that come no extra charge. It's included in the price. And new for 2015, we're doing what we call sundowners. These are one afternoon per week. We will set up a bar and appetizers outside somewhere. In this case, in the Coa Valley, in the vineyard, or if in France, it would be probably a chateau, where we'll be able to watch the sunset and toast the day and toast what a great trip it is. So that's another memorable event for your client. Okay, let's run through the itineraries. I'm assuming you guys know these itineraries pretty well. So we do the Rhine. We have both a 1 week and 2 week between Amsterdam and Budapest. We have the 2 week Amsterdam, that's in Amsterdam and Basel, Switzerland, and then the Amsterdam, Budapest. One of the most popular trips for not just SCENIC, but everybody is the 1 week between Nuremberg and Budapest. And that gives people a little taste of Eastern Europe, Budapest, especially as they take the extension to Prague. And you've got the southern Danube down to Black Sea and the Bucharest area. You've got the tulip time in April and May when all the tulips are out in Amsterdam. So that's both the Netherlands and Belgium cruise. And of course, we have the Christmas time. That's just our very special cruises. In France, we have the Seine River Cruise now out of Paris round trip. That's new as of August this last year. We have the Rhone, both a 1 week and 2 week trip. We have the Bordeaux, which is new this year. And we can also easily combine these so people have more time. On the Seine, it is special. We built a special ship just for the Seine River so that we could get your customer all the way to Honfleur where the Normandy beaches are. Most of the other cruise lines have to stop up above because of the small locks in the lower Seine. and then you have to bus the customer over to get to the Normandy beaches. So it eliminates that. It's a very leisurely trip. Wonderful. We actually spent a couple days in Rouen, which is the capital of the whole Normandy area. Beautiful cathedral. You can get up to the World War I battlefields, things like that. In Russia, we have one ship. It's small. It's the newest built ship in Russia, and it's only 112 passengers. It is not our normal level of all-inclusive service. We have wine and beer at lunch and dinner, similar to most of the other cruise lines, and we don't have butler service on this. So it's not quite the same, but it's still a wonderful ship going between St. Petersburg and Moscow. This is a recap of the 12 ships we have today. So what's coming in the future? 2016. We're building a special ship for the Douro in Portugal. We're building a special ship for the Mekong in Vietnam. The Mekong will be starting to sail January of next year. The Douro will be later September of next year. That's 2016. We have a couple three charters on a Highmark ship in Miramar on the Irrawaddy River, and then we also have some charters in Antarctica and the Boreal. So we'll go past that video. So this is the Scenic Spirit. This is the one that's going to be in the Mekong. It's a beautiful ship. You can see the design, what it's going to look like. This is the lounge area. It's only 34 cabins, 68 passengers, so it's a real small ship, very intimate. This is the design of the dining room, gorgeous. We have 24 deluxe suites. Everything's a one bedroom, so you can see here you've got the bedroom and you've got the sitting area with the deck. So they're all going to be, so 24 are these 344 square feet. That's like the size of our Royal Panorama Suites on our current ships. So nice, a walk-in wardrobe. Just gorgeous. So here's what it looks like. There's the sitting area with the balcony. Again, these are those windows that go up and down. So it's a little more hot and humid in this area. You may want to open the window. You may want to keep it closed all the time to keep the humidity out. Choices, customers. And we have 8 grand deluxe suites, 430 square feet, just a little bit bigger. So you can see how gorgeous those are. Big, huge wardrobe closet, rainfall showers, things like that. Again, it's lovely. And then the big daddies, 2 Royal Panorama Suites, 860 when you include the deck. Now, what's different about these, besides the fact they're big, is that they're in the front of the ship, not the back of the ship. So this deck they're up on the top deck. So you can actually sit out here, and even though it's hot and humid, you're going to have a nice breeze with the ship. It's also got a jacuzzi on the deck and a daybed. So pretty fantastic. And they come with complimentary champagne upon arrival, all kinds of little different amenities. These are starting to sell very quickly. There's a rendition of what it's going to look like. So in all, we have 34 cabins, 4 decks. All cabins are 1-bedroom suites. They do have the sun lounge, which is the balcony that can be enclosed. There's a pool in the back. There's spa, steam, sauna, all that good stuff. Open air cinema back by the pool at night. 1-to-1 staff ratio. 4 different dining choices, butler service, complimentary laundry, beverages, small group tours, tipping and gratuities, all prepaid. These are the dining choices here. And some of the excursions that are going to be out there for them to choose from. So again, it's multiple. So you choose to do one of these. Phnom Penh, there's 4 different choices for them to participate in. So this is the Scenic ENRICH, the private event. That's going to be in the Raffles Hotel, and includes also an exclusive shadow puppet performance, which is very famous in that area. There's a private lunch as well. The itineraries is a choice. There's 5 or 6 different itineraries where you can find land and the cruise. The cruise on the Mekong is only 7 days, so if they want a longer trip, you can go into Hanoi and do the Long Bay. The 11 days plus the 7-day cruises would be an 18-day trip. Here's a 16-day trip. So there's some choices here. These are all in our brochure, which is in the process of being produced right now. And we'll get them to you. You're going to be on our list because you participated, so you'll get at least one of these or a couple of these so you can show your customer the different choices. So they can combine it with a trip up to Laos or a trip to Thailand. So quite nice. Now, in Myanmar, as I mentioned, we have 3 charters. There's a Highmark ship. These are all also 1-bedroom suites, so it's similar to our ship in Mekong, not quite as luxurious, but similar. But we're getting our feet wet by chartering that ship so that some of the customers who are really anxious to get up into that area of the world can do so. We've got a 9-night cruise with some land. This won't start till September 2016. Only 22 cabins on the ship. This will be a cruise-only itinerary. Now let's talk about the Douro. This is in Portugal. It's gotten to be an increasingly popular river for people to go on to see this part of the world. In Portugal, in and out of Porto, which is just north of Lisbon. So I fly into Lisbon or into Porto. But you'll see that the other river cruise lines all basically have the same itinerary, and it's because they all use the same ground operator to schedule their itineraries, and that person owns the docks and stuff. SCENIC decided to do it a little bit differently. They thought there were some areas that they think people would be most interested in seeing, so we'll go through some of those. But the ship itself is 48 cabins, 1-to-2 staff ratio, both 2 full decks, balcony suites. We have a sun deck with a pool because it's going to be a little warmer there. There's going to be 5 dining choices. So you've got the River Café, which is the deli all day. You've got Portobellos, the Italian restaurant, table of reeds, just for the top deck people, the dining room, and of course, the butler service. All-inclusive beverages, Wi-Fi. So it's just like the other European ones, except we do not have the e-bikes, and we do not have the SCENIC TAILORMADE GPS. So I think it's too hilly of an area for the bikes, and I'm not sure why the GPS doesn't work there at this point. 6 standard cabins, 40 balcony suites, and 2 big suites. Here's the itinerary. That you can fly your customer into Lisbon or directly into Porto, some of the European gateways. Then they start in Porto and go up. We include a few extra things that other people don't. One of those, we go up and have a SCENIC ENRICH event at Casa do Paco, and that's actually was the birthplace of the first king of Portugal. Pretty famous area. And then we also take them into Coa Valley, which is some of the oldest archaeological ruins in Portugal. And then we have a full-day trip to Salamanca, Spain, so they can get that full experience. So Porto is a gorgeous city. This is our Sundowners event, the afternoon cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. It will be at this lovely location along the river. This is the Salamanca full day, including lunch. This is the Coa Valley area where the archaeological ruins are. And our final SCENIC ENRICH dinner, the last night of the cruise, is back in Porto at this beautiful Arabian trip. In Antarctica, as I mentioned, we are leasing a couple charters on the Boreal for people who want to go to Antarctica in style on these wonderful small ships. So now I'd like to talk specifically about how to book and what our pricing, how we do our pricing and whatnot, so you can properly explain that to your customer. SCENIC is a little bit different, so we will publish our brochures, and then in the brochure there'll be a beginning price, which will be for the lowest price category. Then you'll add the additional price cost of whatever category they want, and then you subtract from that the early booking discounts and any specials that might be running. So we have 3 early booking discounts, 1, 2, 3, easy to remember. Early booking 1, for example, for 2015, that expired in October. Early booking 2 is going to expire at the end of this month in February. and early booking 3 has to be booked prior to 90 days before departure, which is when our final payments are due. So if you have somebody still interested in 2015, for them to get the early booking 2, they need to put the $500 deposit down before the end of February. And they'll get, just to give you an idea of what those discounts look like on at least one of the 7-day trips. It was $2,000 before October, the end of October. It's now $1,000 per couple. It's the couple I'm talking about, per cabin. And then it's $500 for the early booking 3. So it can be a significant savings if they can book far enough ahead. We only offer, request a $500 per person non-refundable deposit. So they could book well into 2016, pay the $500 per person, and not owe anything else for 90 days before they depart. So we don't require any payment up front. There's 2 ways to reserve. One is by calling, one is online. But let me talk a little bit about 2016 because of that early booking discounts, the best time to get your customer the best price is right now, is between now and May. The reason for that is SCENIC produces a pre-release catalog for 2016. That has been produced. It's going to be in the mail this week or next week, so you should be seeing those. But the difference there is that those are at 2015 prices. In May, we'll produce the full catalog, and that will be at some new pricing level. I have no idea what that is at this point, but assume it's going to be a little bit more. So to give your customer the best deal and the best choice of which cabin they want for 2016, sooner the better. So we are already booking a lot of 2016 now, and people have a clear choice of which dates they want and which cabin category, and that will be different come May. The price will go up a little bit, but also availability will be less. So I encourage you to, as soon as you get that catalog, share it with your customer and get them to pre-book because they'll get the maximum early booking discount as well. So when you do call, if you're going to use the reservation center, like everybody else, we're quite busy, so there's a good chance you're going to be put on hold. I do recommend that you wait a minute or 2 and another message will come on and give you the opportunity to leave your phone number. You'll be in the queue and you'll be called back when your name comes up on the queue, so you can go off and do something else, knowing you're going to get that call back from the SCENIC reservation people. But the easiest thing to do is to use the online booking engine. And it's more than a booking engine, in my opinion. It's a sales tool. And the reason I say that is because it helps you immediately give the customer some information on availability. So where do you get to that? This is our primary website, SCENICCruises.com. This is where you can see the latest. I'm in Texas right now doing these information sessions people could sign up for. So we have one on Sunday that's a national information session that people will sign up for online. But if you go up to the top here, the agent site, and for you agents, don't click on the brochures there. Click on the brochure in the agent site, which is right there, because you can order multiple if you need 5 or 10, something like that, whereas on the consumer side, it's only 1. So on this site for agents, we have the booking engine. You need a username and password for that. The brochure request, the group policy. This is where your sales rep information will be. This little comparison chart that was done by a third party. The SCENIC Specialist Program, which you should take, and I'll show you that in a minute. Also, Media Gallery. You typically would do some videos, but with GoToMedia, we can't do that. So if you want to see those, there's some great videos on SCENIC ENRICH, SCENIC FREECHOICE, and the GPS unit, so you could show your customer those. But let's talk about the online booking. It's very easy to go onto the system. If you've got a customer, in this case, wants to go to the Seine River in a certain time period, you can very quickly go in and see which itineraries still have any space at all. And then when you click on the itinerary and expand the plus button, it'll actually show you cabins. So here's availability for August through September on the Danube for this year. You can see that we have some, but these are all standard suites, except for the single balcony. We do have one of those, which is pretty unusual. But there's no balcony suites or the big suites available. If I go to 2016, same setup, same dates, then you see all kinds of availability. So that's why it's so nice to be able to go in there. You can immediately tell your customer and set expectations. The other night I was doing a session, a presentation in Houston, and a couple came up afterwards and said, we really want to take a Roan River cruise with you guys, but my wife has to have a bathtub, so you have to have a Royal Suite or a Royal Panorama. I was able to go in immediately, show them that we had none available in 2015 for when they went through fall 2015. They just weren't any. So they immediately changed their expectation around and said, well, we're going to start looking at 16. I said, go see your travel agent. They can usually go in there and tell you which ones have the Royal Suites available. So it's just a really nice sales tool. Instead of trying to promise your client that you'll go check it out and then call them back, and you go through that routine and find out there isn't anything, and then you call them back, you got to go back and check again. If you jump right into this engine, you can set their expectations, let them know that there is or is not anything just like what they want, and you can move to plan B. So once you do click on one of those itineraries that they would like, it'll actually show you the cabins that are still available. So if they want to have adjoining cabins or ones that are next to each other or across from each other, it's easy for you to figure out where those are. This is it's hard to read, but these are our pre-booking specials and whatnot for 2016. This will be in the brochure when you get the brochure from us. We'll have this European brochure, and then we're going to have an Asia brochure for the Mekong you're watching. There are a couple specials right now running, and you want to check. Actually, on our website now, we've just added this week a link up there for current specials. So those will be kept up to date because they change them based on what's available, where we have availability still in 2015. So you want to check that often as you're talking to clients so you can give them the most current opportunity to save money. Groups, we do a lot of groups, and we're taking registration now for 2016 for groups. And quickly on presenting, a situation where your customer can compare river cruise companies. I have a chart that we're going to make available to everybody, where it makes it easy for you to compare. But things to have them think about is some of the primary language. There are some European carriers out there now where English is not the primary. That's really important to some people, not everybody. Average cabin size is important to a lot of people. The crew to passenger ratio, if we're 3 to 1, there's not many that are at that or lower. Dining choices, with all the different dining choices we have, and the room service, the butler service, all that is important to compare. The balcony is a GPS unit, all those little extras that SCENIC throws into the equation. The tips and gratuities, that's really important. Not everybody includes the tips and gratuities, and that can be not only a costly item, it's intimidating for a lot of people. They're not sure what to tip, and they got to make sure they got enough money left over to put into the envelopes for the tipping and all that. Well, SCENIC, they don't have to worry about that. And short excursion choices are the biggest thing of all. Having not only the exclusive events, but the choice each day of different types of ways to experience these wonderful destinations. And then start comparing price, because now you can compare apples to apples. The SCENIC Specialist Program is a pretty simple program to go through. You can get to it off the agent site, or you can go to SCENICCruisesCourse.com and take the course, and then once you pass it, you make your first booking. Within 6 months, you'll get $100 per person bonus commission, so that's $200 in your pocket. We'll send you just verify the booking, send it to your representative at SCENIC, and we will send you a debit card for $200. Why not? It also will get you in the qualification process. Want to do any fam trips or anything with us, we require now that people go through this course first. So with that, I'm going to finish. This page here will give you your current information on who your representative for SCENIC is in your particular area, and I'll take some questions.
Thanks, Randy. That was really fantastic. We have a lot of questions, several questions that have been asked. We know that you can go on the website and get them answered about group policy, pictures of the ships and the cabins. So I do urge everybody to go on to the Scenic Cruises website where you can get a lot of your questions answered and get pictures and comparisons and whatnot. So I'll ask a few that I don't think have been addressed. We have several questions about the general demographic makeup of the passengers and if announcements are made in more than one language, even though English is the primary language, are announcements made in other languages as well?
English is the only language, and the demographics are probably pretty similar for all the river cruise companies. It's, very generally speaking, it's baby boomers. It's 55 to 75. The upper limit is more of a mobility issue. So, in the ocean cruises, there's a lot of people in wheelchairs and whatnot that accommodates quite easily. It's not quite as easy on river cruises. It can be a little bit challenging, but it's typically 55 and above. The clientele that's on board, it is creeping down a little bit, but that is the primary focus for, I think, most of the river cruise companies. But while we're speaking about that, since we're an Australian company, we do have a tendency to have quite a few Australians on board, typically more so on the longer itineraries because they take longer vacations than we do. But there could be on a 2-week cruise, half the people could be Australian. Not all bad. They do speak English. They have some funny English words, and they're a heck of a lot of fun to hang out with. But it's typically Australian, New Zealand, UK, North America, English-speaking countries, with a few Europeans in there that speak English.
Excellent. Can you talk a little bit about whether there is availability of cabins or suites that hold more than 2 people? And related to that, is there a solo traveler rate in any of these suites?
What was the last part?
A solo traveler, people traveling alone. Is there a single supplement or similar?
Okay, so first of all, no, we don't take any triples. Everything's a double. We do have a single cabin. It's actually a balcony suite, single cabin on the scenic ships, most of them, and that's at 150% of the normal rate. The other thing to remember on a single, our discounts are typically per cabin. So we'll say it's a discount of $2,000 or $1,000 per person if it's double, but if it's a single, it's $2,000 for that person. We're looking at trying to do more single supplement type of opportunities, and I've heard rumors of more of that being done in 2016, but I don't have any details.
We have a couple of questions about the electronic assist bicycles. One is, you mentioned that passengers can take those out on their own. Are there also escorted tours that use the bicycles? You can go out with an escort. And also, are there any bicycles that are 3-wheelers or something other than the 2-wheel variety?
I don't know of any 3-wheelers. The bicycles, typically there's at least one tour, guided tour, each week. On the Danube, we have 2, one in Regensburg, which is kind of a short bike trip, with an hour out, an hour back, to a fabulous area. And then you've got the 22-mile bike ride to the Coa Valley, which is unbelievable. But that's where the electric assist comes in handy. It just kind of boosts things. We do provide helmets and instructions on how to use the electricity so they don't go, you turn it on all the way at the beginning and go right into the river. So.
Okay, and do these itineraries in general in Europe include any overnights in the same place? And for the port stops that are not overnight, is it typical to leave at dinner time? Does the cruise ship move at dinner time, or what's the general lay of the land for that?
Well, that's all determined by the river and the schedule. So, for example, our new itinerary in Bordeaux actually overnights every night because it's only a short distance to the next spot that we're going to. So they typically will start that in the morning once people are up and having breakfast. We're going to putt to the next location. But then on the Rhine, it's a long ways between some of the destinations, so we need to leave earlier. It could be at dinner time. Other places will leave after dinner or even after everybody's gone to bed. It's a matter of the distance and then how many locks, because the locks do slow things down. So each itinerary is going to be a little bit different. But wherever we can, we stay in port as long as we can.
Excellent. Do you allow passengers to visit the kitchen, the bridge, the engine room, other places like that on the boats?
Sure. The bridge is always open, except maybe, at some critical time, docking and something like that. But it's right there. I mean, it's on the top. You can walk in and say hi to the captain. It's pretty casual. This is not like a big ocean carrier, ocean ship, but the dining room, no, not just any. I mean, the kitchen, but we have guided tours to the kitchen, and it's pretty interesting to see how much food these people produce in such a variety and so elegant in a small little kitchens that all the ships have.
That must be really interesting. Do you get a lot of direct business from passengers? And if so, if you've got people calling you direct, do you handle that yourselves? Are they referred out to agents? What's the policy about that?
Well, our policy now is we care not to get a lot of that. If somebody, there are certain customers out there, none of us like to hear this, but they just feel like they have to book themselves. So there is a certain amount of that. We much prefer they go to the travel agent. We push that big time. Now that wasn't always the case when SCENIC first came into the marketplace here. They weren't that familiar with the travel trade market in the United States and Canada. It is totally different than any other place in the world. There are other places in the world where most of the business is direct, or 50-50 travel agent and direct consumer. In the United States, it's not that way. They got their feet burned a little bit in that area. We being the current U.S. Staff that started about a year and a half ago, made it very clear to them that the travel agent was the way to go. We push as much business and always recommend doing business to the travel agent market.
Fantastic, thank you. We have time really for just a couple more questions. What is the smoking policy aboard the ships?
There's no smoking within the confines of the ship at all, or even on the balconies. There's a designated smoking area on the top of the deck that would be outside in the back of the ship. If they smoke in the balcony, it's just going to go right in the neighbor's cabin. So we'll find that out and remind them that that's not proper policy.
Good idea. We have time for just one more short question. I urge everybody to go on to the Scenic Cruises website, which will answer a lot of your questions and will also give you information about whom you can call with any additional questions. And our last question is our most popular one, which is, what is Scenic's policy about travel agent rates and FAMs?
So we have, there's two types of FAMs. There's organized FAMs, which we have a couple times a year, and we invite typically the agents who are booking SCENIC and have some kind of a marketing agreement with us, where we're doing some direct mail together or some in-person sessions with their clients. So we want to help them as much as we can to better understand our product. There's also self-guided FAMs that are a pretty good deal, and we're formalizing that policy as we speak, even more so. One of the requirements is that you do take the SCENIC Specialist program and pass that. It's not real difficult. It just takes a little bit of time. And then secondly, that we do discuss some kind of co-marketing agreement. We want everybody to experience it, but not just because you want to take a trip. It's because you are serious about wanting to try to help sell and market our products. So if you are, we obviously want to have you on our ships. So we'll work with you. It's based on availability. So we want to check and see what itineraries have open space. And you can do that 120 days out. And it's $495 for the agent and $995 for a companion. So it's a great deal, but we do want to, we have a lot of thousands of agents that like to do it. We need to focus on working with agents that have the clientele that match our demographics, which is a little more upscale, and we'll be happy to try to work with you on that.
Fantastic. Again, Randy has a slide up right now about people you can call, BDMs in your area, for more questions. I want to thank you so much. Our guest today has been Randy Goodrich, trainer and BDM for Scenic Cruises and Emerald Waterways. And as always, Randy, this has been fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
And thank you to all of the agents on this call. We really appreciate your being here, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.